There we go. And we'll fill for a minute. You guys fill for a minute. I'm gonna eat some chips.
All right.
Good job, buddy.
I didn't plan on doing all the work.
Why not?
No, you guys are pretty good at it. I got you here to help me. You're capable. Don't want to step on your toes too much.
We are capable. High praise indeed.
Right.
What's your favorite kind of potato chip? Or rice chip? Or if it's considered a chip at all, what's your favorite chip-like product?
Let's see. When I was a kid, I loved sour cream and chives potato chips. And I can't remember whether I enjoyed like the ruffled ones or the ones better. But as I grew up, now my favorites are either salt and vinegar or like a spicy jalapeno something.
I've been addicted to the Pringles scorching cheddar cheese here lately. Because they're actually spicy, but not like uncomfortably. Well, occasionally you'll get one that's got a lot more on it, and so it's uncomfortably so. But that's relatively rare. They're really good.
Cool Ranch Doritos for me all the way.
Yeah, outside of that, it's the Cool Ranch Doritos for me too.
Gotta say, I'm more a fan of. I like Cool Ranch, but I'm more a fan of the just the classic nacho cheese Doritos.
Last said sour cream and cheddar. I'll give you that. Mycroft said Celeron. Shut up, Mycroft.
Celeron?
Yeah.
I'm not done reading The Lord of the Rings yet. Does he survive at the end?
I see what you did there. But no, if it was Tolkien, that would be Kelleron, because the C at the beginning is pronounced with a hard sound. Chifuji likes shrimp chips because Chifuji's weird. And salt and vinegar potato chips. What is wrong with you?
Hey, man.
Sorry, now that's implying that something's wrong with you. Which is what I meant. What is wrong with you? Oh man, at the racetrack at Bowman Gray, where we used to, when I was a kid, the parents would go every Saturday night, and I went back several times, like with Lex and various other people. Mike, you might have gone with us once.
I did.
Dirk did.
Yeah, I don't think I did. I don't remember. I don't think I've ever been to the track.
It's an experience for sure, because it's just a whole lot of redneck scum. But you can get French fries there that are really good. But instead of like ketchup, they have little packs of vinegar. You put the vinegar on the chips, or not chips, the fries, and oh my god, that's so good. But only there for some reason. I've never even considered it anywhere else ever.
Yeah, it's kind of rare that you'd see little packets of vinegar out. There is a place that I used to go every once in a while that had little packs of vinegar out that you could get with your fries, but now I can't even remember what it was. What place it was. I think the first person who showed me that was my Grandpa Shiver. My dad's dead. It's pretty good.
Nice. But that means we have filled... Wow, we've been going for 4 minutes now. Okay, that took longer than I thought. Whoops.
We are professionals.
Yeah, we are. So, okay, here we
Especially
go.
when it comes to filling time.
Shut up. Seriously, stop making noise, whoever's making noise. Ow, jam! Hello again, and welcome to the Mana Pool. Yes, look, it's an actual podcast episode. Yay!
Yay.
Yay!
And the crowd
Yay.
goes wild. This is... I did change it. Episode 629 of the Mana Pool. And you might have noticed that the podcast feed was a little light for a while, and then suddenly the audio version of the first of the two Just Chatting streams we did over the last couple weeks appeared. It didn't appear till today, and I don't know why, because I put it up like a day or two ago. But whatever. It's there on the podcast feed. So let me know what you thought, either on Twitter, email, or YouTube, or wherever, somehow, in the Discord, whatever. To let me know if that's a thing I should do in the future when we don't do a podcast episode. Because it's either that or the podcast feed gets nothing. So, there was a little bit more swearing because it wasn't a podcast episode, mostly from me. I think entirely from me, actually. And we didn't talk about Magic not once. Maybe once, but I don't think so.
I don't know.
Let me know if that's a thing you would like me to do in the future. And don't forget, I'm on all of the social media things. We've got Facebook and Twitter and even Instagram, although I don't really use that one. Yeah, it's at the Mana Pool for all of those. Or / the Mana Pool, or whatever. And of course, there's patreon.com/the Mana Pool, where you can sign up to become a lifeguard. And something in the floor just fell and made a noise and scared me. And, of course, there's the Discord that you should totally join. Because that's where I pretty much live. Like, I'm always on the Discord. And a bunch of us are. Not us, the four of us. It's just me of the four of us. But there's a bunch of people that are on the Discord all the time. We have good conversations about all kinds of stuff. We got channels for all kinds of things. It's a lot of fun. You should come hang out there if you're on Discord. And if you're not, you should consider it because it's a lot of fun. It's sort of like it's sort of like the old forums, but less structured and more conversational. Yeah. But okay. So, now that I've gotten all that out of the way, and you can go to themanapool.com to find all of the links to all of the socials and things, and the link to, like, the humblebundle.com reference link is there. If you buy video games on Humble, use our link. That directly helps me out. But yeah, it's themanapool.com takes you to our link tree, which has all of the links. Now, at least I think it does. I hope nothing broke there. Hang on. .com. Yeah, okay, that's got all the links. Good. I didn't break it. Yay! But okay. Also, there's the YouTube and the Twitch. Now, which we're live right now on Twitch. Oh my god. So, I am Chewy, the lead dork, and all three of the other dorks are actually here this week. Hi, dorks.
Hey, I'm Brian. I'm the lead rambler and tangent master of the group, and I am here. Let's do a podcast.
Yeah. I'm Mike. I'm the rules guy and game lore guy. A little bit out of touch with the game and its current history lately, but I'm here too. Also ready for a podcast.
I'm Dirk, the self-proclaimed greenest man alive and moral compass of the group, and I am ready to get back into the scheme of things.
Yeah. Aren't they cute? I think they're cute. So, this week, this is a thing that came up, oh god, a while ago now?
It's been a little while, yeah.
But we haven't done a show yet to talk about it. Ooh, that was a sub. Oh, that was Mike, who resubbed and said, "We're cute." Yeah, we are. Oh, Mycroft said, "I haven't heard you say Black Lives Matter in a while. Would you be willing to state it again?" Yes. Wait, should I say it again? Because Black Lives do matter.
They do.
And let's see, trans rights are human rights. And don't be a dick.
Yeah.
and get a shot. Get a shot. Son of a. If you haven't had a vaccine yet, and you don't have a valid medical reason to not get a vaccine, get a vaccine.
Including for those to not only benefit yourself, to benefit those that are medically unable to do so.
Exactly.
It's called being considerate.
Because, you know, the Delta variant, you know where that came from? People not getting their shots.
Mm-hmm.
That's why there are several states that are currently losing all of their freaking intensive care unit beds. Because people were like, oh, I didn't get a shot. It's a dumb reason. No, get a shot. Okay. Enough of that. If you just haven't gotten around to it yet, maybe, you know, do that. There's really no excuse at this point. Okay. So, yeah, that concludes the, hopefully, for the most part, the preachy portion of the show. Seriously, please get a shot. For the sake of not just yourself, as Brian said, but everyone. Now, yeah, so we're here to talk about, first, an announcement from Magic Arena, or for Magic Arena, about Magic Arena.
For with Magic Arena.
Yeah.
Of Magic Arena. Below Magic Arena.
But below me. Below me. I don't get it. So, yeah, it's Jumpstart Historic Horizons. And Jumpstart Historic Horizons is a new set that is what's been pushed back slightly because of back-end reasons, but it's coming very soon. And it's going to be in the historic format, and it introduces, well, hundreds of cards from Modern Horizons 2, and 31 new to Magic cards in this digital-only release. But it also, and when I say hundreds, I mean like hundreds. I forget how many hundreds. There's a lot.
Like 3?
Was that all? I know that it's a lot to suddenly just vomit into a format when like new sets are already still coming out and wild cards are hard to come by.
I mean, I'm trying to find the numbers.
So while Brian does that, it also has Magic Arena only, digital only mechanics and cards. And
372, yeah, new to. Okay, sorry, continue.
Do what?
Nothing. You are 372.
Okay, so it's basically 400 cards.
Yeah. Please continue.
Okay. Like I said, that's a lot.
It is.
Yeah, it's like an old style big set.
Yeah. But yeah, so these we have Seek, which is a. Okay. I don't actually know Seek. Seek, it says, powerful tutors grab a random card from your deck that matches specific criteria. No shuffling and no time spent looking at options. It just grabs a card that works out of your deck, and the game keeps moving. So, like Hearthstone is doing now, where it'll say, hey, my name is 14,
do such
just
and
resub.
such. Yeah, do such and such, draw a nature spell. And it'll just give you...
Yeah,
just
like...
keep rolling.
I was thinking Scavenger's Ingenuity that says, draw a beast, give it +2/+2. It just gets a beast at random from your deck and draws it and gives it +2/+2 in your hand. By the way, my name is 14, just subbed for the 37th month.
Whoo.
37?
That's
in
not
a
small
row?
number.
I don't think it's in a row,
37.
or it would say that. So... So yeah, that's
great.
Seek. You don't flip through your deck. It doesn't show you all the cards that matter. It's just like, here's one, go, shut up. Perpetually is a mechanic that permanently changes the characteristics of a card no matter where it goes.
Yep.
So this is sort of like Hearthstone. I'm using Hearthstone as a reference because it's the digital card game that more other people have played.
Right. Yeah, we're definitely not saying like, oh, grr, arg, but this is the comparison, yes, and it's
the
it's
cleanest
apt.
without this comparison.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Hearthstone has lots of cards that can buff. Like right now, there's a hand buff paladin that buffs the minions in your hand. The difference is perpetually changes them always and forever, no matter where they go.
I mean, yeah. Let me just say, playing Hearthstone toward the beginning, I was really surprised. Like, I would play a creature, or whatever the term for creature is in Hearthstone, and somebody would be like, polymorph, turn it into a 1/1. I'm like, okay, cool. Bounce it back to my hand. And then I'm like, why is there a 1/1 in my hand? Oh, no. Because I was used to Magic in terms of, when it changes zones, it reverts to its original characteristics. So this is something Hearthstone has done in various capacities for some time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it couldn't be done in regular Magic because it'd cause memory issues.
Right.
Yeah, paper Magic can't do that sort of thing. Because who's to know if this one particular creature in your hand is the one that got buffed?
It has gotten a little easier with something like you get an emblem that's, cards with this chosen name get blah, 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 blah. But that's already like you have to, that will then apply to everything with that name. And if you start to overuse it, like if you have more than 3 emblems out, you're probably already having memory issues. So the mechanics are potentially there, but from a practical standpoint, it's essentially unworkable with paper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then finally, so an example of perpetually is like target creature perpetually gets -1/-1, which means if it gets bounced to hand, it still has -1/-1. If it goes to the graveyard, it still has -1/-1. If it gets returned from the graveyard to the battlefield, it still has -1/-1. So, yeah. And then finally we have Conjure. Conjure is sort of like create. You know how you create a token? It's just like that. You're creating something that wasn't there before, but it's a card, which means it can be bounced to your hand or whatever. When it dies, it goes to the graveyard. That sort of thing. And like they've said, they have powerful spells and artifacts. Can conjure up iconic, powerful, or just plain useful cards. From Tropical Island, yes, the dual land, and Stormfront Pegasus, sure, to Ponder, and more. Now, I'm not entirely sure if Conjure is only pre-existing cards, or if there are Conjure-only things. I don't know.
Like, I think the Teo Planeswalker makes a Conjure thing specific to him, but others I've seen seem to be mostly existing cards.
Wait, no, not Teo. Well, maybe Teo too. Is it Davriel?
Yeah, Davriel Conjure stuff. I can't remember what the whole list looks like.
Yeah, not that it matters. We're not talking about for just to clarify on this show. We're not going to talk about what cards can be conjured or any of that. We're talking about philosophically about the existence of these cards and mechanics that only exist in Arena. Because like Arena, much like Magic Online, has been billed as this is Magic. Same as the Magic you play at a table, just on a computer or a tablet or a phone or whatever. Right? That's out. That's a thing now, right? You can play on the phone now.
Yes, you can.
Okay, I thought it had come out, but since I don't play it myself, I don't know.
It took a while to get there, but it's there. So yes, it is mobile. Mobile? No, that's a children's thing.
Or it's in Alabama. No one
We don't.
wants to go there. So, yeah, like Ethereal Grasp here says, tap target creature. That creature perpetually gains. This creature doesn't untap during your untap step, and I think that says pay 8 to untap this creature.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not an enchantment that stays on the creature. It's just new text that gets written onto that creature that stays there forever. So, yeah, that's a thing.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's talk. What do you guys think? Now, do any of you actually play Arena anymore?
I do.
Okay, Brian do. The rest of us don't, right?
No, I never tried.
And Dirk is muted. Okay.
I'm muted? Yeah, I am. The answer is no.
Oh my god. So Dirk, do you play Arena?
I do not.
Okay, so it's really just Brian who has any sort of skin in this game.
That means my opinion must be correct.
We wouldn't know any better, that's true.
Now, I know that reactions to this have been varied. Like, a lot.
Yes.
Given that I don't play Arena and my interest in playing actual Magic at all is the lowest it has ever been, ever, my reaction honestly was a massive eye roll, and then I moved on with my life. But that was like my initial reaction. So how about you guys? What do you think?
Do you want me to go first because I play, or go last?
I don't care as long as
I'm
somebody
just
other
going
than
to
me is talking.
start. I'm just going to start talking. So for me, it's a bit of a mixed bag. It's not very like super positive or super negative. Here's the main thing, because what kind of you've known me for a while. Without even knowing what I play on Arena, what formats do you think I play most often?
Wait, on
Draft.
Arena?
Yeah.
I would say probably whatever the not Commander version is.
Brawl?
That's the one.
I play Brawl a fair amount, but I pretty much stick most of the time to I do play Brawl, and I play as much limited as I can, and then I play standard to the extent that it gets me the tickets and the currency to go back into limited. So I have very limited not pun not
Yeah.
intended. I have not exposed myself. No, ooh. I don't generally play historic is where I'm going with this. Not that I'm morally, figuratively, ecumenically opposed to the format. I have no problem with the format. It's just not one that I'm super familiar with. So, um, so my experience with adding cards to that format, mm, I don't really have an opinion on that a whole lot. And will I use the cards when I am done drafting? Because it's a jumpstart type thing, when I'm done basically playing that format. Depends on how many decks I build to come out of that. Maybe I'll get something that's really inspiring to me. Uh, do As a primarily limited player and someone that has enjoyed Jumpstart in the past, do I like this as an idea? Like just from the set itself? Yeah, hell yeah. Like Jumpstart's a neat idea. Have you met anyone that doesn't like Jumpstart? Except for the people that literally couldn't find it in the store because everyone else was buying it up?
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
what I was
know.
gonna say. Was yeah, the people that didn't get a chance to try it hated it.
I
Yeah.
feel like I'm missing something. I feel like I don't understand what Jumpstart is as a special thing. I thought it was just a pile of cards.
Jumpstart is a format where you get 2 theme boosters, say angels and discard, and and it's 2 raid to go decks, and you shuffle them together to make an angel discard deck, and you play against someone else who's using 2 similarly themed decks, like maybe goblin mill, because they're like,
Oh,
yes, goblins and mill together. It's awesome. You get the best of both discard. Gotta stop saying that. um the best of both limited, and then you keep the cards later for constructed, if and um and it gives you like a limited thing, like ready to go right out the bat. You don't have to build the deck, you literally just shuffle the 2 decks together and you're good to go. But the cards in them were fairly neat, and there were like planeswalker themed ones. So Jumpstart was a fantastic idea, and the problem is that then people were like running to Targets and LGSs and just buying the hell out of them to get the cards, and so people didn't get to play the format, which is too bad because my experience with it has been nothing but positive. So another Jumpstart product, yes, that's a good thing. Putting cards into a format, it's a whole lot of cards. I guess it depends. If you're one of those people that says, "Man, now I have to go craft 700 X cards," I'm like, "Why are you going to craft every card? Do you literally feel like you have to have every every available card all the time? That's kind of insane." So anyone that says I have to now craft hundreds of cards, I'm not sure what game you're playing, but okay, whatever. Um Maybe narrow it down to the ones you really need, I guess. Um and then as far as my take on digital only, no problem with it whatsoever. The fact that Hearthstone's been doing it for a long time does not matter a whit to me. And as we were discussing prior to the show starting, guess what? Before Hearthstone was doing it, Magic was doing it. Yes, yes, haha. Because you know what? My
What?
earliest experience with this, and I before anyone else beats me to it, is a little thing called Momir. Yeah. So on Magic Online, you have um avatars, not like the last airbender, just the person that you get to represent your face basically.
I mean, you don't even
And
need to go into Momir specifically. It has avatars, and there are game modes in Magic Online where those avatars do different things.
correct.
mhm.
I was just gonna say Momir became the most well known, but
Yeah.
all the
Its own
avatars,
format. It became its own
all
format.
yeah, all the avatars had unique effects, and they had to tweak. Like when you played with the Sarah avatar, all of your creatures I think would get some bonuses. When you played with I think there was a grinning demon and avatar, and it had all these effects. But Momir was the one that changed how the game worked on a fundamental level. And how it was is every turn, you could pay X mana and discard a card and create a creature token that is create a creature token based off of a real creature that existed in the game, but the creature's mana cost was equal to X however much you paid. So
Dear God, Brian, you were terrible at explaining simple concepts.
somebody else
You
explain it
you
real
You
pay
quick.
get a
X
random
and discard
creature,
a card, a land, I think, or no, people just played with all lands,
a
right?
card. Yeah.
Yeah, you pay
Yeah.
X and you discard a card, and then you get a random creature of that costs X, like completely random from all the cards, the creatures that were available on Magic Online.
Right.
Okay, now keep going.
So obviously this is not something you could ever replicate in real life Magic, because I play Momir and Chewy's like, okay, and I'm like, I'll pay 3 and discard a card. He's like, all right, which 3 cost creature token do you get? I'm like, I don't know. I need to roll a die. Quick, how many 3 cost creatures are there in Magic, Chewy? Because I need to roll that many dice to find out which one it's gonna be. Someone somewhere has maybe tried this, and they have probably gone insane.
Oh, I have seen people with giant binders that are that say Momir on the front.
Really?
Yeah, and they're not like every creature, obviously, but they're a crazy assortment of creatures at all the different costs that were pretty funny.
That I am both in awe of that, and no, mostly awe and appreciation. And hey, if you want to go do it, knock yourself out. But obviously, the ease of technology allows this to happen. So, you said other people in Discord were pointing out similar digital only products, right? Should
Yeah,
we? Yeah.
Pinball
Like
pointed
what
out. Let's
else?
see here. Mike knows about this. The Microprose game had some sort of cards that weren't Magic cards.
Yeah, and they all had some ability that had a randomized effect. Some of them it's just like when it enters the battlefield, you choose a random value and then you just go with it. Some of it is like you pay some mana and get some effect that has a randomized element to it.
Mhm.
And yeah, they were specific to the old Microprose Chandelar game from 1995 or 1997 or whatever it was.
Apparently, the Japan exclusive Dreamcast game had exclusive cards, which I have never heard of. So okay.
Yeah, neither have I. I didn't know about that at all. That was new.
MTGO has it with the Vanguards, like all of the Vanguards. Like Brian brought up Momir specifically, but like again, there were some Vanguard cards that have appeared initially in print, but there were many, 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 many more on Magic Online than there were ever printed.
I just I feel like sometimes I'm the oldest guy on the show because I feel like even though Chewie's older than me, I act the oldest, and I don't mean more mature. I mean curmudgeonly. Like you kids get off my lawn, kind of like. And yet, still, I have a problem with anyone that feels like things need to be done the way they've always been done. Why? Because that's the way we've always done it. Um, and anyone that feels like we shouldn't allow the technology to allow us to do new things. I'm just like, why? I'm not saying everyone's making this argument, but I have seen it in more than one place of like, this is getting too far from, what Magic started as. I'm like, yeah, isn't it great? I mean, yeah, I realize maybe we want to keep Magic recognizable to a certain extent, but
I mean,
I don't like.
as Garfield intended, it has about as much actual real world pull as the founders intended. Like the world was a very different place in 1990. What 3?
Yeah.
1? When the hell did Magic come out?
1993. Yeah.
Yeah, the world was a very different place than it is in '93. And card game. I mean, for God's sake, Magic invented the trading card game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it was a new genre, and even the designers and developers didn't really understand the game to its fullest extent because the game itself was so new.
Hmm.
exactly.
So,
So,
yeah.
like the the complaint that it's not as the Garfield intended is really a non-starter. Like Planeswalkers were not as the Garfield intended.
Hmm.
And like it's fine if you want to be one of those people who plays 93 94 Magic. That's why that format exists, is for people who don't want to, I guess, play the real game or the evolved version of the game. It's sort of like WoW Classic. Like, all right, if
They
you want
want
to
to
go
play the
back
game
and
as they remember it when they were young.
yeah, if you want to go back and play the crappy version that's legitimately and verifiably worse because it makes you happy, do it. Fine. Have a party.
But don't tell other people to not enjoy something that they do enjoy. I think So many of my arguments lately come down to please don't tell other people what they can enjoy, whether it's in media or games. I don't mind. I'll bash on something I don't really like a horrible movie or a game. But the minute somebody's like, I really enjoy it, then I'm like, I may disagree with you, but I'm never going to say you don't have the right to enjoy it. And yet, so many other people are like, you can't like that. It's dumb. And I'm
Yeah.
like,
I mean, just earlier at the beginning of the stream, someone in chat said, I think it was Chifuji, that they liked, what was it, salt and vinegar chips. And I said, what's wrong with you? But I meant that as a joke. Because, like, if you want to eat salt and vinegar chips, good. That means I don't have to look at them because you're eating them all. So it's a win for everybody. But, like for instance, the Suicide Squad just came out. Have any of you seen it yet?
I'm not.
No.
Okay, I haven't either. But I'm fairly certain from what I've managed to glean that I'll really like it. But even if I didn't, I'm not gonna call the people that did like it morons. Like, you know, like, unless they're morons for various other objective reasons. Like,
But not because they enjoy
not
it.
because they liked the Suicide Squad. Yeah, exactly.
And Ashley and I were making dinner earlier. We were
moron.
making some,
Oh, I mean, what?
yeah, we were
How
making
dare
some.
you? That
we're
menu
making-
was dumb.
We were making quesadillas, and we had run out of the buffalo sauce. And Ashley was like, "Is Texas Pete kind of like buffalo sauce?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's close enough." And I said, you know, I know there are people out there who act like Texas Pete is for barbarians, but I like it. You know,
What? Texas Pete is a Carolina classic. Seriously, Texas Pete comes from North Carolina, for anyone that doesn't know. It's one of our few exports that, you know, is not racism.
Got to take those where we can get them, man.
It's true. Dude, my mom uses Pete for everything. She has a big ass bottle. Like, so I went to visit this weekend and she made spaghetti. And I happened to be standing there when she added the Pete. And she was making a big vat of spaghetti as always. And she took the Pete and she just took the bottle, unscrewed the lid, and went, and like shook it into the thing like 4 or 5 times. And I was just standing there with my jaw hanging open. And she goes, yeah, that'll do, I guess. And I was like, really? You think? And then the old man stirred it up. And mom goes, here's a fork, get a bite. And I tried it, and it was good. It had just like a tiniest little kick because Pete isn't that strong. But anyway, I don't know why I went off on Texas Pete, because those people that think that Texas Pete is for barbarians are wrong. And how dare you talk down to those of us that love Texas Pete?
So, before I get too far afield, but
Too late.
I do that is one of the criticisms is, you know, well, this is getting too far. I don't think that the prospect of adding things to Arena that Arena can support is a bad thing. And I don't think every card needs to be for everybody. See Command Tower. For those of you, how long ago did Command Tower come out? Originally, Gather, because we're old.
Damn, it was the first Commander set, wasn't it?
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, for damn ever.
Yeah. And yeah, I don't know why I'm bothering to look this up because it says Commander, and I want to know when that came out, and it's not going to list it in Gather, so that's dumb. So I'm just wasting
Y'all are
everybody's
still
time.
living in the other house.
It'll say at the bottom of the card.
Oh, it will. I can't read that. I can't. 1991. That's not right.
Okay.
Copyright. I don't know.
First
So look.
Commander looks like it says 2011.
Okay.
Wow, was it really 10 years ago?
I'd say probably, yeah.
At least, yeah. Because I was just thinking. Because
Yeah.
I remember us sitting around the table at Brian's old house playing.
Yeah, it was introduced June 17th, No, it's Commander's Arsenal. But yeah, it's 2011.
All right, so
Jesus.
10 years ago, that's a long time. But if you were not playing then, this card was released, and we were like, oh, sweet. But there was a general push against this card. Why was there a general push against this card, Mike?
Because it was vintage and legacy legal, but didn't do anything.
That's correct. There was a not, I don't want to say majority, because I think the loudest people come across as more numerous than they are, whether it's politics or gaming or whatever. They're
Very
not the
vocal.
average people, but they are the loudest.
Yeah, the vocal
But-
minority.
But there were enough people complaining that how dare they print a card that not everyone would use? Like, how dare they print this card that is legal in Vintage and Legacy that literally serves no purpose? How dare they? And I don't like. Did they expect it to have a silver
God
border? I
forbid they
don't.
see the next Hill Giant variant that gets printed in this year's core set or something.
I mean, nobody complains about the fact that One with Nothing was printed, and yet, and in fact, every now and then I still see somebody's like, "Can you use this card for anything?" And the answer is still, no, not really. There's just stuff that does better things, but it's there, but it doesn't offend people. And for me, this was just the strangest thing. It was just like, why? Why is this offend you so much? So here again, we have cards that are only going to be on Arena, and they're never going to be in print. And that's okay, because implementing them in real life wouldn't work. But you can give nice things to people that play Arena. And no, this doesn't mean they're cutting out paper magic. Giving something nice to a segment of the population does not thereby strike against the rest of the population.
I feel like we're. You can go ahead and finish your sentence.
You feel like we're getting a little far afield again? You know me, I tend to do that.
Well, no, I feel like we're getting. I feel like we're getting too hung up on like the conflict, whether there even is a major conflict over these, and like
Okay.
we're trying to have an argument or debate with someone instead of just talking about what it is and the principle of it, everything like that. I don't want us to sound like
That
getting too negative and combative about it, because I don't think
uh-huh.
that's really what we had intended to talk about anyway.
No, this is exactly what I intended to talk about.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think-
because there was a very clear division in the Magic community about the digital only things, and everything Brian's been saying is very relevant to that because, yeah.
I just want to go on the record that Chewy just said that everything Brian has been saying is very relevant. I'd like to get this in writing. However, I want to say that I see
Maybe
where
not
both of you are
everything.
coming. I see where both of you are coming from. Chewy's like, this is exactly because this is what people are saying. Mike is more thinking, we want to talk about all the facets and all the possibilities that this could be used for, and not necessarily combat the negative. I think the thing is that these two are somewhat linked, and I'm holding my hands together and no one can see it, but we're addressing the fact that this does have a lot of possibility, and yet some people are very fixated on should this exist in the first place. So but I'm certainly not opposed to continuing to explore more about the set and its possibilities. I just wanted to address some of the criticism of it and why I disagree with it. But I actually do agree with Mike to a certain extent that I don't just maybe it's less that I don't want to talk about. It's more I don't just want to focus on the negative response to it. So, Mike, is there another aspect to this that you wanted to discuss in particular?
Yes, but now that
Okay.
you've brought it up, and I know that this is one of the, I'll go ahead and share my thoughts about the topic that I'm on right now, since this is one of the things that we did intend
Okay.
to talk about. But and this was mentioned in the chat several years ago, several years, several minutes, several hours, lifetimes.
It's all the same at this point.
It is.
Yeah.
It really is.
We're on the internet. Minutes are lifetimes.
yeah, that Historic was a digital first format. Historic was intended to just be for Arena, back when it was still kind of a new thing, because they weren't going to go back and program all these old sets into it so they could have Modern and Legacy and whatever.
Mhm.
And there are
what's the other
certain
one?
things that, huh?
What's the other format?
Pioneer.
Pioneer. There
was
we
also,
go.
Pioneer was also meant to be a paper format.
Yeah, Pioneer is a paper format, isn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah,
Yeah.
yes, it is. But Historic wasn't. Historic was originally concepted to be specific to Arena, to be its kind of like modern analog for
Right.
whatever they wanted to
They just picked a
put it.
really bad name for it.
Yeah, for whatever they wanted to put into it to make for an interesting, um, you know, non-rotating format.
I feel
And
like we had that discussion when it was announced of like, could they not pick a different name? I feel like this is
yeah,
something that we said.
Especially now that we have cards that are literally only on Arena. Calling it Historic is so stupid in so many ways.
Well, I also remember we talked about like, isn't Historic like wasn't that a mechanic in Return to Dominaria?
yeah,
So it's a name that already has meaning in Magic. So a couple reasons that maybe they should have tried a little harder.
so besides naming conventions, but yeah, it was meant to be Arena only as something they could do for this new digital game that they wanted to go forward with.
Mm,
Of course, when people hear about a new format, they say, "Oh, I want to try that format out." And if these people, if these people only play paper Magic, they're gonna go and see what they can do to build decks in paper. So if Wizards never intended to support it as a paper format, but people are playing it just because they're interested, and that's fine. But it was meant to be digital only. If so, here's where they're finally stepping up and embracing more of what it means to have digital only
mhm.
content. So you can do digital only stuff. You can make digital only designs, things that would be impractical or impossible in paper and pen life.
Yep.
And you can get some interesting things. I've read multiple criticisms in some of the emails I still get for Channel Fireball and whatever, that the people there writing, there's some people there writing that say, they didn't go far enough with the digital designs and really exploring the space. But I think that's really just they wanted to play it a little safe first, not go too crazy, just to see what the reception was. Because if you go really crazy and accidentally do something bad and stupid and game breaking, then yeah, no one's going to be happy with that. So start small, see how it
Luckily,
goes.
in digital
Go from
only,
there.
as we've learned with Hearthstone, if you do something bad and stupid and game breaking, you just fix it.
Yeah.
That's true. You just
Unlike
fix it.
with
A
paper,
rat-
where if you do something bad and stupid and game breaking, cough, cough, I can't even think of his name.
Oko.
Thank you. Cough, cough, Oko, cough, cough. What can you just ban him everywhere? Whereas if Oko was digital only, you could just tweak some things. And boom,
Yeah, you'd
he's not
just
a
be like,
problem anymore.
"Ooh, yeah, let's shave off one here and one there."
Yeah.
Now, I still am not super positive about this, but that is a positive aspect of it, where even if you do something dumb, you just fix it. It's fine.
Yeah.
hmm
Just don't do like early Hearthstone and take like 2 months to fix it, for God's sake.
That one haste guy that gave all your other guys haste was dumb and was broken when they released the brawler guy that when he got damaged you made a copy and was bad. Yeah.
What do you say?
Another option that's available because of technology. Gee, look at that. Something else I want to say. We've talked a little bit about Hearthstone. We've actually talked, I was going to say a lot about Hearthstone, but we could have talked more about Hearthstone. It's true. Just because Hearthstone did a concept first, I don't look at this Magic set, copying it, as being a negative thing. Now, before it sounds like, oh, well, I'll just let them get away with anything.
Well, now I think
Not
Brian is actually digging up arguments that don't really exist. But okay, go for it.
You haven't heard anybody say that, oh, Hearthstone did this, so they're just copying Hearthstone?
I mean, considering everything Hearthstone did, Magic did first, and they've been copying.
No, I agree, but I thought I had at least heard somewhere, oh, Magic is just becoming Hearthstone now.
Oh, I'm sure someone said that.
So,
Yeah.
just real quick, and not to dwell on the negative, but I have no problem with a game learning from another game, and I don't really see how, like, as long as they're not like, oh, look, we're going to print a card named Leroy Jenkins, and it's going to cost 5 of any color, and when it comes in, it's a 6/2 with haste, and the opponent gets 2/1/1s, and it's going to yell Leroy Jenkins in your ear when you play it. Like, I don't mind borrowing concepts. I mean, this is how games evolve. They see each other and they're like, "Hey, that's neat. Maybe we can do that." There were talks about, I think, double face cards were originally in another Wizard's own product, right? And they're like, "We think that would be cool here. How do we do that?" And it took them years to be able to develop that. So to just be like, "Oh darn, well, Hearthstone did it first. I guess we can't touch it again." I don't think that holds any weight.
Yeah, I mean, there's a whole game that is what if Magic started as a digital product. It's called Eternal. And it's really good. I played it for a while until I realized that I don't have the attention span for 2 digital games or digital card games, so I sort of stopped. But like, it's very much Magic but digital, like a lot, like a lot.
I played it for a little bit. Yeah, he's not kidding. It's a lot. So, yeah, I really like a lot of what they did here, and a lot of the possibility. It just feels very streamlined. It feels like this is how to efficiently do this. How to search and tutor without it feeling super clunky. And also, when you put restrictions on this, like, seek out a creature or whatever, it allows then more interactions with other cards you already have without it being completely busted. After all, which is safer, a card that says seek out a creature and you get one at random, or the same card that says search your library for a creature and put it into your hand? The first one, while more limited, that's kind of the whole point, is a lot easier to do and make it safe, and to do it in such a way, whereas the second one, just the general tutor, you have to be very careful with that or it gets broken. So the restrictions that are here because of digital allow you to do this in a fair and balanced way. Does that make sense? Like, these are not just like, oh, we can do this because it's random. We can do this because yes, it is somewhat random, but that also allows us to balance out the power level. So, yeah.
I mean, I don't know if I agree with the power level thing. But that's because I play lots of Hearthstone where draw a card of a specific type means it's way easier to always ensure that you have that card.
Yeah, if you build your deck in a very specific way.
Yeah.
Which, the seek stuff has that too, but I would have to look at them again to see whether the seek cards are too overly specific or if they're general enough that you have to build kind of a weird deck to really take that kind of advantage with.
I see where you're coming from. I just mean, perhaps in a vacuum, the one is a lot safer than the other one.
Yeah.
Sure.
I realize gamers are going to game, and they're going to find ways just about in every format and with every possibility to try to exploit the mechanics as well as they can.
It's true. Like right now, there's in Hearthstone, the Elwyn Boar meme deck, where if 7 of them have died, you get the Sword of 1,000 Truths, and can destroy your opponent. But you have to make 7 of them die. So a lot of people are playing it in a hunter deck with all of the find a beast cards, and it's the only beast in your deck, so you always make sure you find it. That sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or the stupid rhino, but let's not talk about that. So
I am sick of the stupid rhino.
Do what?
I said I'm sick of the stupid rhino.
Yeah, you are.
Is this like Siege Rhino 2.0?
Okay, never mind. So, so I figured we would all be very positive about, or at least you guys would be very positive about this, because that's how we do. So of course I talked to Bill and Clues. Sadly, neither of them could join us tonight, because I would really have loved to have an actual dissenting opinion. But I did get some of their, if I can find the proper freaking, there we go. I did get some of their thoughts on the thing earlier. Clues' fear is that this shows that WotC has already been designing cards, paper cards, that play better with digital, right?
Uh-huh.
Like,
Yes.
And they've said that. They're like, well, we're doing it this way because it's easy to do in Arena. And we're like, all of the paper Magic players are like, thanks.
Yeah.
But
Well, if it works in online format, then hopefully it's streamlined enough to work in the real world too, because all you need to do is look at some of the old alpha beta cards and go, oh, okay, so we play a game of Twister.
But no, I'm talking about, I don't have any recent example. I do know that they've started doing the put cards on the bottom of your library when you look at cards, but don't choose them. Nowadays they go on the bottom of your library in a random order, which means in Arena it just does that for you. But you have to, in paper, you have to physically randomize the cards and then put them on the bottom of your library, which before put them on the bottom of your library in the order. Whoever has dishes and whatnot in the background, please mute. Whoever is, or no, whatever is, I completely lost my train of thought with that. Oh, before it was like, okay, put the cards on the bottom of your library in any order, so you would physically put them in order and then put them on the bottom of the library. But unlike Magic Online, it's always kind of weird. Okay, wait, is this the order I want them from the bottom up, or the order they're going into the, and it just takes more clicks. So the random order is better digitally, but not better for physical players. That sort of thing. There are cards that are, and I point them out during previews, whenever we have them, of, yeah, that's, oh, here we go. 14 has a list. Mutate, very much. Mutate is very a digital thing. Double face cards are a lot easier digital. The errata to make a Johnny's Pride Mate mandatory. I didn't know I had to play a Johnny's Pride Mate all the time now. No wonder I don't play.
You do. It's now required.
Curses. But yeah, the errata to make the life gain on that not say May. So in Arena, you can't forget. But in paper, you can. And then there's the question, oh god, now what? And you'd have to go to the tournament floor rules. So yeah, that's what I mean when I say cards that are better for Arena than physical. It's just mechanics and whatnot that the computer just does for you that
right
in paper is kind of a pain. There are memory issues too. Okay, so this token gets something, but it doesn't get a counter or anything to show that. Whereas in Arena, it's just, it says it on the card, but in paper, okay, well, this this isn't a +1/+1 counter. This blue glass bead means that it's a zombie.
Mm. I love that. Yeah. Takes me back to the whole, hey, I ran out of islands, so all my swamps are mountains days from college.
Aw. Did
There's a
we
very
ever all
pop-
gang up and give Devin a bunch of lands? I think we did, didn't we?
I think we did. There's a popular deck in Arena Standard. I have no idea if it's popular in real card standard or not, but there's not the Scoot Mob, but the Scoot something from the New Zendikar, that when a land enters the battlefield under your control, if you control 6 or more lands, you make a copy. What's that?
Scoot Swarm. Is it
Scoot Swarm.
Yeah.
That you make a copy of this creature, and if that creature, the original one, has been mutated, you make a copy of the mutated creature. And obviously, in real life, especially if you ever kill the original one, it's going to be a little more difficult to keep track of everything that was going on, because, like, okay, what was that creature again? But in digital, it's just like, boom, here's your new copy, and it was originally an insect, and now it's a shark, and every time it mutates, you draw a card and bounce a creature, and they sacrifice a creature and discard a card and do all this stuff, and now you have like 15 of them. By the way, I hate playing against that card, in case you couldn't tell. I've actually like really come to loathe it because I don't like it, and it's a pain in the butt. But
I can tell.
but I will say, it is a deck that is made so much easier. This can exist in Paper Magic, absolutely, but it's so much easier to keep track of because it's the combination of mutate and copy effects. And that's kind of a unique intersection there where your brain just goes blah and stops working. But the computer's like, nah, man, I got this. It's cool. The computer does not pronounce the L. It's just cool. So
fair enough. So I forgot where I was. Okay. They've already been, for a good few years now, they've been designing cards that are easier on the digital side of things because they have Arena now, right?
Correct.
Right. And I know Clues' concern is that if this proves to be popular, or even if not, like, it shows that Wizards is already moving away from Paper Magic, which ever since Arena was announced, Clues has been like, well, Paper Magic's gonna die. Not like that clearly, but he's had that gnawing at the back of his head.
Mm.
And especially once Arena started making stupid amounts of money for like with no overhead, it becomes, because Wizards of the Coast is owned by Hasbro, and Hasbro is utterly a giant evil corporation. It could be that at some point they're just going to look at the math and go, why are we still printing these paper cards? Stop that. And Wizards of the Coast can do literally nothing about it because the boss said stop. Now, I don't see that happening anytime soon myself.
No.
But I do see it happening at some point. Possibly, in the far, far future. But, I mean, obviously, Magic's going to die at some point. Nothing lasts forever in the cold November rain. Wait.
This is how the world works. Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't... No. If Paper Magic does die, it will be because of digital magic. Let's be honest.
Chess has survived for hundreds of years, but you don't buy booster packs of chess.
Yeah, chess. Once you buy a chess set, you're good for life.
Although I do hear the new set is coming out.
Ooh.
Try to get one of those Blue Eyes White Knights.
I hate you.
I love you.
You remember Alpha Chess when you used to have to play a game of Twister to figure out if you took the piece or not?
Throw the knight up in the air, and if it lands on any of your other pieces, you have to discard them, right?
All rooks and queens suffer X damage.
Oh yeah, they do.
Oh my god. But anyway.
Taking it back old school.
Um
Having played Arena lately,
oh,
um, Dungeon is another one. Yes, I would argue it's Dungeon is not difficult to do in real life. When Sam and I were doing our pre-release decks with Adventures in the Forgotten Realms, we were able to keep track of it just fine.
yeah.
But it's another thing that the game keeps track of for you. So
Yeah. I mean, chat did point out that anything that says shuffle is already inherently biased towards digital.
yeah,
And sure, but they've also cut back on cards that make you shuffle compared to previous years. So
yeah, they have because they know it's a manual process. So
yeah.
yeah,
And for God's
and
sake, these tournaments got to end sometime.
and honestly, I'm a big fan of making things easier. So I don't know if I've mentioned on this show or not, but over the last year, Carrie and Sam and I have played a lot more board games. We've tried to do it together as a family on a more regular basis. It's one of the positive things to come out of being together. And one of the board games we've gotten into is called Hogwarts Battle. Um, and it's based off of Harry Potter. I know you'd never guess. And
Thank God it's not based off of like porcine skin conditions.
it took me a minute. That I had to put the words you said into an order that made sense. So, um, but I love the game. I have really enjoyed it, and actually, I think the person that's probably enjoyed it the most is Carrie, and Carrie has loved it. And it's intricate, and there's a whole bunch of stuff you can do with it. But the game requires a fair amount of setup and breakdown each time, and because there are different modes to the game, like based off of first year, second year, third year, etc., plus there's been expansions to keep track of those things. You add cards to this overall deck that you can then purchase cards from to power up your own deck. Plus there's the villains. There's a whole bunch of moving parts to this, is where I'm going with this. And Carrie and I have both said it multiple times, well, we really enjoy the aspect of playing this together as a family. Um, this undoubtedly, unequivocally would be so much easier if there was a digital version to use, because then it would do all the setup and breakdown for you. And again, there's a lot of that with this one. It is not a small amount. So, um,
Dude, Risk.
Risk, yeah, Risk is another one.
To go something classic and less turfy.
Yeah,
Yeah, Risk is. I love Risk, even though it's not a great game. But the physical act of playing Risk is a giant pain.
Gosh.
Whereas digital Risk is awesome.
Yeah. Click, 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 click. Yay.
It's never like, oh god, I'm out of red guys. Okay, I guess no one's using the yellow guys. So okay, the yellow guys are mine too.
yep.
But anyway, so yeah, this could be the first hint that Wizards is moving away from paper magic. Now, like I said, I don't agree with that just yet. But I still see it as a distinct possibility, especially if they make stupid amounts of money off of Jumpstart Historic, or what's it called, Historic Horizons. Excuse me. But I don't think it's wise at first glance to be like, aha, it's dead. Like it's not dead yet.
People have been saying that Magic was dying for years before Magic the Gathering Online was a thing, before Arena was a thing, before Commander was a thing. Magic has been dying since beta. Did you hear they reprinted all these crazy cards? My value is going to go way down.
Yeah.
This
It was
game
actually
sucks
an
now.
early idea for YouTube videos was the death of Magic. When I was going to go through all of and I had a big long list somewhere of all the times that Magic was going to die. And I never did that. But like that was going to be a YouTube series that lasted for a while.
I'm honestly kind of surprised that you never did it, because it is ripe and rife and
It
ready to
was
go.
it would have been extremely labor intensive with my skill set at the time. Even now, I don't know if I could do it because what I had in my head looked sort of like zero punctuation.
No, I think you could add commas.
Dirk, next time you see Brian in person, could you punch him for me?
No
Thank
problem.
you. I appreciate that. But so that's one of the concerns. Is this is the first of the death knells of paper Magic. Now Bill did have some positive things to say. After he was like, of course, Bill has also been of the opinion that this is the direction Magic's going, and that the pandemic made it easier. Which, accurate. They didn't have to worry about killing the paper Magic Pro scene because COVID happened and the Magic Pro scene got shot in the face.
Yeah.
So,
in the face.
Yeah. Now they just don't have to bother putting it back together again.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they've already dismantled the MPL and have no idea if there's going to be any kind of pro thing after that because I don't do Monday Night Magic anymore, so I don't have to pay attention to that sort of thing anymore. It's kind of awesome. But let's see here. What did Bill say? Bill said, "See, competitive Magic being digital only is a good thing." Which I know that's not what we're talking about, but
I do see that it as an advantage because now you can have pro tournaments online. Like if you're going to have Pro Madrid, like because they used to be all over the world, the Pro-Am ones, right?
the Pro Tours.
Well, now you can still have them like we're going to host it in this country, but those that can come can, but we are leaving it open to some people to decide whether or not they want to travel or not. I see it as an advantage, and the one thing is it does get around any rules questions because the computer will remove any sort of judge. I need you to get a ruling on this. Well,
wow,
the computer is the judge.
Yeah.
I never thought of that. And that's an extreme. I think now I could still see some pros arguing whether or not the computer got it right or wrong. I really could. But
straight up. Yeah, I could see Sam Black arguing with Arena. Like, without even blinking, I could see that.
Yeah.
But,
or
didn't have enough time to make my decision.
Appealing the decision, just like the computer was programmed to do something wrong.
Yeah.
But
let me finish with Bill and Clues here.
Sure.
Clues said as long as they work out the I got disconnected, so now I forfeit my match issue, which is very much a thing that needs to be fixed.
Mm-hmm.
And this is for digital events when people travel somewhere and all play on LAN. Mm-hmm. That still was happening, and that's not right, like, at all. But we'll Clues also said maybe remove the gathering from the name since that'll be gone. But
no.
Here we go. Bill said it cuts out a lot of ambiguous edge shooting gameplay BS, which is totally a thing that we've all seen.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. A lot of environmental damage from travel. Yeah, getting 400 nerds to all travel to one place isn't, great for the environment. Which it's a small drop in the bucket, but every little bit helps at this point.
Every little bit helps. Yeah.
There's a whole lot of regional bias. Like Magic Pro Play is very much America and Europe centric. Very much America and Europe centric. So it going all digital fixes that. The whole judge program mess,
Oh yeah.
which,
Remember when there was a lawsuit?
yeah, I still don't know whatever happened with that.
I don't think we ever will.
And another thing I hadn't thought about, some small portion of sexual harassment when the humans don't have to cohabitate. Ah. Although Hearthstone being a digital game has shown that misogyny extends into the internet, of course.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah.
But again, it's like the environment. Everything you can do.
Yeah. If there is a slight difference between women don't want to go to a GP because of, all of the potential harassment, and women don't want to play the digital game. Like, if you're a streamer, I totally see that. But, like, it's not like there's voice chat in Arena or any chat. Is there a chat in Arena?
There's emotes, and they've now added stickers, which of course leads some people to spam. But people spam whatever. They'll spam like "hello" over and over again. So give a man an emote, and he'll make it into a thing. But there's no like typing in "you suck," LOL, and other stuff.
Yeah,
so.
Which is a thing that goes on to this day in Magic Online.
Oh yeah.
I don't follow very many Magic people on Twitter anymore, but I still see screen caps of "do you believe this?" and it's just chat logs, and I'm like, wow.
I mean, I played Magic Online for a long time, and I'm not at all I'm not at all a discriminated against person. I'm a cisgendered white guy. I'm not claiming any of that, and yet still some of the comments that I got were just like straight up rude, and just people just saying nasty stuff. Throw a little bit of racism and sexism in there, and I'm sure it's just toxic. Because if the baseline is we just can't be nice to each other, you can only go down from there.
It's true.
And that was not all the time. That was not everybody. But which do you remember more? The like 20 people that just said, "Hey, how's it going?" to you on the way into work and while you're at work? I'm sure hopefully some of it was pleasant. Or do you remember the one guy that said something completely inappropriate to you?
Or screamed in your face.
Yeah.
Or screamed in your face.
Yeah, I don't remember the multiple people who friended me after a Hearthstone game to say, "Hey, cool, that good game." I do remember the 2 people who friended me so they could cuss at me.
Nice.
That's true. I have had more people send me random friend requests to be nice than to not, but I could not look up my friends list now and tell you which of those people those were.
Mm-hmm.
I could remember one that I friended. His screen name was BJ Honeycutt, because that's when we hit the turn limit and both of our heroes exploded. And I think he sent me a friend request after that and was like, "What happened?" I was like, "We hit the turn limit." He said, "What's that?" If the game goes too long, we both lose. He was like, "What?" Like, because we were both playing Control Warrior. It's on YouTube, actually. I enjoyed that.
So neither of you lost to fatigue?
No, because we were playing Control Warrior at the time when an Archivist Elysiana was there, so we put extra cards in our deck.
Oh.
And we hit the turn limit and we both exploded, and it was hilarious. But anyway, Bill pointed out the social parts of Magic are great, but those can survive in the non-competitive scene, which is true. Let's see here. Magic always tried to be the competitive game that anyone can sit down and play without actually delivering on that promise in practice. It's actually separating the two, and in the process cutting out the mess that is the secondary market sounds great. Meaning for competitive play.
Yeah.
Especially if the secondary market is only supporting casuals, as that might finally knock some prices down. Ooh, I got news for you on that one, buddy. Commander is destroying card prices, so no.
I mean, between people wanting stuff, just like good cards for their commander decks, as well as I want the pimped out alternate art, Japanese only, foil Liliana Planeswalker from War of the Spark, you know.
Yeah. But not only those, but like regular ass cards are just skyrocketing in price because commander players.
But once again, if you remove the competitive part from it, does it get better?
No, because commander's
Possibly.
not competitive. Like that's the point.
No, I, I'm not arguing that it will still stay high. I'm just wondering if it's not at least somewhat mitigated. I
There's literally no way
Maybe
to know until it happens.
maybe for standard.
Yeah. But that was Bill's looking at the positive side of if like paper, specifically digital only competitive Magic. And I gotta say, I kind of agree with all that. As much fun as I had at GPs, like I wasn't, the times I was having fun had nothing to do with playing in the GP. In fact, when I went to a GP and had to play, I didn't like it. So like the there are conventions and whatnot for that sort of thing. So that's me personally, but like there are other places to go to get the Magic GP vibe if GPs like don't ever become a thing again. I think it, as much as some people will miss it, I think we'll survive.
Yeah, I think I think I will miss it, but I was also not. I went to like one a year. I was not one of those guys that traveled around the country and went to GP Vegas and followed it up 2 weeks later with GP Gnawlings, followed up by whatever. I know that people sank a good amount of cash into it, and I'm sure for them it'll be tough. I think the last year has kind of prepared me for a lack of Magic, and it's a little disappointing, but we all do what we got to do. So
Oh, Chifuji pointed out they could do playing digitally in person, like with some of the Hearthstone Open tournaments. So you
That's
could
what I was
still have.
thinking is back with the BlizzCons that you would have a whole bunch of computers all in one place, and you could do it that way, and then you potentially could have, if you're going to have a big tournament, say, okay, well, we're going to have one in Los Angeles, we're going to have a station set up in New York, we're going to have a station set up in London, have one set up in Rome, one in Tokyo, have like they're all going to be competing on this at the same time, but you could have a whole bunch of them happening on the same day or for like a week and have a big tournament where people could travel to one of these locations instead of everyone trying to get to one location, and have like regional ones and then a world tournament with everyone there from these countries all in one, all in on their location, their regional area, all playing on the same day for a world title. Like there's so many things you could do digitally that actually would be more open to people around the world, as opposed to you're going to have a GP in like New Orleans. Well, everyone has around the world. If you're going to compete it, you have to go there. Whereas you could go to like somewhere closer and compete against people in New Orleans,
Hmm.
and that would get around your connectivity issue, because unless everybody in that station, unless everyone at that location lost internet connection, then you would get around the whole, well, I lost internet connection in my one little place.
Well, except it doesn't, because all of those times when I said, "Oh, I disconnected, so I forfeit," that was at the live events.
Oh,
Yeah, it's because Arena isn't quite there yet. But it does keep like the people playing from home. Oh, I lost my internet connection. Well, I guess I lose. It does keep that from happening. You are completely right. But yeah, 14 in the chat said, PT, bring your own phone to the lobby of this hotel and let's jam. And I guess it could be a bring your own device event if you're going to do all digital in person. But I'm thinking more that there's just an assload of computers set up and each one is like this one is yours. And that's just where you go every round and you play against someone else who's also at their designated computer. But you think Magic tournaments now are expensive. Wait until the tournament organizer has to make that happen. Holy balls.
Yeah, so it would just be for those, top level, invitational.
Yeah, you couldn't have like GP Charlotte for Arena because there's no internet there, and there's no internet anywhere in Charlotte that can handle all that.
I was about to say you'd black out half the city.
Yeah, all of Charlotte could not handle that much internet. So But anyway, we've gotten way off topic because of Bill and his competitive digital only. But I think that's more likely that competitive paper Magic just won't come back than all paper Magic won't come back. Like, I don't see that happening anytime soon. But the competitive thing I can totally see happening now. That sounded painful. Everybody okay?
Yeah, I dropped something. Something fell off the cuff.
Yeah, whatever. You're over
What,
snapping
like
fingers.
a
I know.
bone? Yeah. So do we have any more to really say about this in general?
I mean, I see where the people who see this as a negative are coming from. I really do. And not just because I am, I have a predilection to be negative towards Wizards of the Coast these days. Not just because of that. I personally don't... Like I said, my initial reaction was a massive eye roll. But that was it. It wasn't like, well, there it goes. It was just like, ugh. And then I kept going. But then the more I thought about it, I realized I don't care. But then the more I thought about it, the more I realized that... Especially once Pinball pointed out that all of these other things. And I was like, well, that's not the same. That was just a video game meant to represent Magic. Oh. Well, that's not the same. That's Vanguard. That's an entirely digital only. Oh. Well, that's not the... It is the same, isn't it? Hang on. Like, were there any... cards that in any of the Duels of the Planeswalkers games that were specific to that? I don't think so, but even if it was, that's not the same. That was a digital... Oh, like...
Well,
any argument I could have come up with to why that's not the same just illustrates that it's the same. Like... My real concern was the bazillion cards they're dropping into Historic all at once. On Arena itself, again, when freaking wild cards are already hard enough to come by, that seems a little suspect and greedy. Like, don't wait until there's a drought between sets and just do it now. Screw it now. Because as Jim Stephanie Sterling says, corporations don't want lots of money; they want all the money.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Do people really complain about the wild cards?
From what I understand, constantly. Especially rare wild cards seem to be the hardest to come by because there are more rares that you want for competitive decks.
Logging in real quick. Of course, I play hella limited, so that's where I get my cards from. I very rarely craft anything, whether it's Arena or Hearthstone. All right, now I need to go and see. All right, I have 222 commons, 297 uncommons. Wonder how I got more of those. 133 rare and 59 mythic wild cards.
I know a lot of people right now who would kill you and take those wild cards and not even notice that they killed you. Like,
I live at the following address. But so I play a ton of limited, or as much as I can, considering I'm 100% free to play. I've been playing more or less since it came out, and well, I signed up for the beta, and then it took them a while to actually get me in. And I have put it down for times. I have not been 100% constant, but I very, 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 very rarely craft cards because I don't also play terribly competitively. The last couple months, I think the last 2 or 3 months are the first months that I've actually placed diamond in constructed. So
nice. Is that good?
I think I'm just saying that kind of puts me in a position where I could see someone else burning through their wild cards more quickly. Yes, I get that. For me, it's never really been an issue. So, and again, like I said, even with this new set coming out and dumping, 800 cards in, 700, whatever, I'm not going to be like, I feel this compulsion to literally craft all of these cards.
I thought you said it was 370 something.
370? Okay.
What was the 370 account of?
New to Arena cards. I just found it.
Oh, new to Arena. Okay.
New to Arena.
And there are 767 cards total.
But
in Historic Horizons.
Yeah.
Okay, so 430 something were already in Arena.
Right. Total of 767, and 372 of those are new to Magic Arena. So
okay.
It looks like all 13 of the mythics are new to Arena. 56 of the 85 rares, so more than half of those are new to Arena. And then more of the uncommons and commons. I'm not doing that math and addition and subtraction. No, you don't want to hear my lack of numerology numbers. Bad. So, I'm just saying I
just realized I didn't have it on the screen. Here's the breakdown. Apparently there are 782 cards in Historic Horizons. 372 are new to Arena. 767 are non-land. So I guess the others are the basics?
Yeah, that would be 15, so 3 versions of each basic land, I guess.
Okay, there you go. So it's really only 372 cards that are being dropped, not almost 800, since those were already in Arena in some form or fashion. I don't know what form or fashion. I wish it would say how many of these are new to Historic, because I don't know how Historic works. Like, is that all of the cards that are on Arena, essentially? I don't know.
That's what I thought.
That's what I thought, but I don't know specifically, so...
I remember reading something. I think it was Cedric Phillips. But he was talking about just how confusing it is to figure out what's in Historic. He says, I will give you $10,000 if you can tell me, without looking it up, what is actually legal in Historic.
That's pretty funny. So, yeah. Wow, we talked for a while.
We did.
I don't even know if we said anything.
We talked about the overview of the set and what it means. We talked about our personal thoughts about both the set in general, although we didn't get card specific, as well as digital only products, both in Magic and card games in general. It was some generality, sure, but we talked quite a bit. Welcome to my world. Just talk a lot. Some of it will be relevant, some of it will not. But at the end of the day, quantity over quality, my friends. Quantity over quality.
Oh, yeah. Huh. So, given the time, I'm guessing we should not bother jumping into the Innistrad cards tonight.
Probably not.
No.
I mean, we are coming up on like proper previews because the set itself releases in like a month, right?
I have no
What's
idea.
what's the set name? Howl at the Moon, Midnight Hunt.
Midnight Hunt.
Yeah, that one. It's Bark at the Moon, by the way. It's named after the Ozzy song.
The release date for Midnight Hunt. Pre-release of the physical cards kicks off September 17th because it comes to Arena Magic Online first, but pre-release is on September 17th and physical release is on full release is on September 24th. So this time next month
Well,
is the pre-release.
next week, this time next month is the pre-release.
Yes.
Because today's the 12th. So
Time has no meaning for me anymore.
essentially, in 2 weeks, it'll be a month.
Yes.
Gotcha.
So even though it feels early for previews, realistically, it's about time for them to start showing us the cards. So,
Yay.
which means where I'm going with this, and I'm being horrible about it, is that even if we don't get to them next week, and this week they'll be upon us soon enough. And I'm just doing a horrible job of explaining that.
That seems to be your MO, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just. Remember when I tried to explain that mechanic earlier, the Momir mechanic, and it was just horrible? I remember.
Pepperidge Farm remembers.
Pepperidge Farm does remember. Member Berries remembers.
Although there are only 7 cards, and most of them are pretty simple.
You want to do it?
But again, it's already 10 o'clock, and I know you guys are about to pass out as it is.
Dirk, you want to talk about 7 cards real quick?
Sure.
Oh. All right. Well, hey, let's talk about some Innistrad cards too then. Why not?
All right.
Let me open it back up. I closed the window.
I really figured that these guys would be like, no, it's late. All right.
Well, let's get to it.
All right.
So we're
hang
going
on.
to
I
talk
gotta
about.
find the damn button to push the button. Is it this button? There we go. Okay. So we have 2 cards in blue. One of them is more interesting. The other one is probably a bigger deal. So I'll take the bigger deal. Consider, for a blue, it's an instant. I think that's a common. That is a common.
It's a common, yes.
And it says, look at the top card of your library. You may put that card into your graveyard. Draw a card. So what is this card? It's basically
a Ponder? No.
No.
A Serum Visions?
Opt.
It's an opt variant. Yeah.
Okay.
I forget
But
what.
it's not Opt.
I forgot the difference between this and Opt.
Opt scries.
Ah, okay. But yeah, this going into standard, and thus the other places where they have been, that card has been, or cards like it have been put away or banned or whatever.
Yeah.
It's kind of a big deal. But
And
the other card's way more interesting.
And we know that it's going to be a graveyard-centric set, so the fact that it puts the card into your graveyard is highly relevant. Or you may put it into your graveyard. So, no, the other one is fascinating. So, Triskaidekaphile. Who remembers Triskaidekaphobia?
Hey,
I don't remember because I'm afraid of it.
We were playing Jeopardy using the Echo Dot a while ago, and Triskaidekaphobia came up as an answer, and Carrie was like, how did you know that? Because I came up with it immediately. It was like, this is the fear of the number 13. I'm like, Triskaidekaphobia, and Carrie is looking at me like, what? And I'm like, Magic the Gathering. So this is not Triskaidekaphobia. This is Triskaidekaphile.
someone who loves the number 13.
Exactly. So for 1 and a blue, this is a 1/3 human wizard. It is a rare, and she just looks pissed. Like, I know she's supposed to be like mad, like insane, but she looks genuinely angry. Like, this isn't the hand I ordered.
Plus, is that Jar Jar Binks' head in the background? What is that? Oh, it's a hand.
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
got a lot of hands.
Oh, the one right above 12 looks like Jar Jar's head.
A little bit, yeah.
And I can't
now
not
that
see
you've
that.
said it, I didn't see that until you said it. Oh,
Well, it's
flavor text. She's always willing to lend a hand. It just won't be her own. But she just looks upset. I don't know why she's so upset. Maybe she
one
needs
thing
one
too
more.
that's weird about the art is that if you look at the way her arm is and the hand, she's holding a hand because there is no way the hand you're looking at is her hand.
Oh,
Well,
yeah,
yeah,
she
no,
is holding
she-
a hand, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, she's a wizard. You have no maximum hand size. Of course you don't, because look at all these hands. Hands for days. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you have exactly 13 cards in your hand, you win the game. And she has the ability to pay 3 in a blue, draw a card. I think it's hilarious and awesome, and it's going to die all the time because, people are going to see this coming a mile off. But it's neat. And a card that costs 2 that says you win the game, and actually it gives you the mechanics by which to meet its own, win condition is pretty neat. But if somebody drops this down on turn 2 and then proceeds to just not draw cards for the next I'm doing the math. 8
Did we lose
turns.
Brian?
Yeah. The next 8 turns and just expects you to let them win. Because keep in mind, you're either drawing extra cards or you're not playing cards. Is going to be disappointed. Now, I could almost see a control deck popping up around this, and I'm not a control player. I have flirted with it, and ultimately, I just don't have the patience for it. So I don't love that, but I like that this card is interesting, and I love the callback. And there's other callbacks here, like the next card. Anything else about Triskaidekaphile?
I mean, clearly it's a card that's meant to be your win condition. This could be like an alternate win condition in a control deck, sort of like, we used to talk about Splinter Twin. Splinter Twin was always just a 2-card combo you put in your deck.
Yeah.
But you had another way to win because the Splinter Twin was going to be handled. Break it. And it was just there to keep your opponent honest or to distract your opponent while you won over here. And I get the feeling that's what Triskaidekaphile is going to be. Like, because it has to either... Well, no, it's the beginning of your upkeep, so you can't play it at the beginning of your upkeep because by then you'll have missed the trigger. So you'll have to play it like at the end of their turn with flash, or somehow protect it for a turn while keeping the right number of cards in hand. So I don't know if there's anything to really worry about here, but it is really funny.
I mean, I hear what you're saying, and you can certainly overuse it as your win condition, but you can also just play it as a wizard that draws you cards as a mana sink too. And they really can't afford to keep it alive because you might just, oops, I win. So
something tells me you have better things to do with your mana than play a 1/3.
Early game?
I don't know. Way better things to do with your mana early game than play a 1/3.
Okay. We'll see if it does anything. Next. So for 1 white, we have the Champion of the Parish. It's a 1/1 human. Whenever another human enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1 counter on Champion of the Parish. Right?
Right.
That was from... I don't know
Original?
what Innistrad said. It was
think
from
the
an
original
Innistrad
one.
set. Probably the first one. If not, it was the small set that went with the first one.
I'm looking up Champion. I did that from memory.
I mean,
It's not
really
hard
remember, it's
when
right
the
there on
other
the
one is
card.
right. Yeah. It's from Dual Decks. Oh, no. Sorry. The expansion was Dual Decks Blessed versus Cursed, but it was in the original Innistrad.
Okay.
And this was one of the very first human tribal cards that really pushed it. But that's not what we're here to talk about tonight.
Well, keep going, Brian. The other two seem to have forgotten how to read cards.
Apparently. So
I mean, I thought you were the one going into it. You spent all that time talking about the other one and gave us no indication that you were waiting on one of us.
Okay, so this is I was just being funny, but this is Champion of the Perished for 1 black, a 1/1 zombie. This zombie has no job. He's just a zombie. This is a rare. Whenever another zombie enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on Champion of the Perished. I just wanted to point out how completely and blatantly this was a callback to Champion of the Parish, from the name to how it works to all that.
To the art.
To the art, yeah. He rose from the graph for every cobbler, tanner, and fool who'd been slaughtered in the parish, and they rose and shambled after him. So inspired. The original flavor text of Champion of the Parish is, I stand for every cobbler, tanner, and fool in this town, and they stand for me. They're still going. That's loyalty right there.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that the flavor text worked too. That's great. So yeah, put it in a zombie deck. Dang.
Put it in a zombie, and a 1/1 that's only going to get bigger is usually not bad, because they either have to spend their removal on your 1/1 for 1, or it's going to grow out of control, or they're having to spend it on the stuff you play that's probably more intimidating than a 1/1 for 1. So take your pick. Okay, I'm not reading the next one. Somebody else is.
Okay. Infernal Grasp is a great little unconditional removal spell for just 1 and a black. It's an uncommon instant. Destroy target creature. You lose 2 life.
So that is really good, right?
That is great.
Like, I read that and went, damn.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I don't remember seeing anyone like lose their mind over it, but it seems really good.
I think it's really good. I don't know that it's like busted, but
Well,
it's just so good.
I don't think it's possible to make a busted removal spell.
You'd have to work at it. But like, we just had Power Word Kill, which costs the same, but it has a bunch of restrictions on it. Can't kill most of the best creature types, and doesn't cost you any life. But here, just the loss of 2 life, but point and click, kill it. Doesn't matter if it's black, white, artifact, whatever.
Seems good.
Yeah.
All right, how about some fire? Dirk, you want to play with fire?
Always.
Is it a kitchen fire?
Woo! Let's play with fire. For 1 red, it's an uncommon instant. Play with fire deals 2 damage to any target. If a player is dealt damage this way, scry 1. And it has all the reminder text, and it says, flavor text-wise, devils find human dwellings to be oppressively cold, dark, and unburnt.
That is a problem. But yeah, this is a hell of a way to make Shock a better card. Holy crap.
Yeah.
Like, chat says strictly better Shock, and it is, because it's Shock, but with upside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Shock just says deal 2 damage to any target.
That's it.
And then for 1, which is what this says, but this says, if it's a player, scry 1. What?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have a whole lot to say because it's pretty straightforward, but it's awesome. So, yeah.
I'm sorry. It is gimme foo, gimme fi, gimme dabba jabba zai is how the song goes, chat. Come on now. We're all Metallica fans here. Dabba jabba zai. All right, next. Oh, I didn't. Okay. It's only the one red card and the one green card. So now we have Ren and 7. Remember Ren and 6?
Yeah.
There we go. Well, now it's Ren and 7. Where was Ren and 6? What plane was that on?
Modern Horizons. I don't know.
Oh. Okay, never mind. 14 pointed out, it's a shock that teaches you the wrong way to use shock. Now, damn it, that's funny. Shock your face. No. Okay, excuse me. That makes me happy. But okay, anyway, so Ren and 7. So remember, Ren is the humanoid thing, and 6 was her pet tree folk thing.
Yeah. Ren and 6 was the first attempt to make a good 2-mana planeswalker. And Tybalt's like, hey, and we're all like, yeah, good.
Aw, him so cute. So Ren and 7 for 3 green is a 5 loyalty legendary planeswalker Ren. Dryad, that's the word. Thank you. I could not freaking think of the word Dryad to save myself, so I said the humanoid thing. So, Ren and 7 has 4 abilities, plus 1. Reveal the top 4 cards of your library. Put all land cards revealed this way into your hand and the rest into your graveyard. That's good.
Very good.
Yeah, it's very good. Of course, Mike would say that. For 0 mana, put any number of land cards from your hand onto the battlefield tapped. That's good. It's not like great, but it's good. It's delayed ramp.
Yeah.
I like it. -3, create a green tree folk creature token, nailed it, with reach and power and toughness equal to the number of lands you control. Well, and quote, this creature's power and toughness are each equal to the number of lands you control, so it'll change as you play more lands. Or get them destroyed, or whatever. And then the limit break for -8 loyalty. Return all permanent cards from your graveyard to your hand. You get an emblem with, you have no maximum hand size.
Which then helps you with the first 2 abilities.
It's true.
I don't know. I think this is really cool, but just dropping this and immediately doing the -3 just feels like the best play almost every time because bless you, because that creature is going to be just dumb. Even without having a million lands, it's still going to be really good.
And of course, people can't resist. Last in the chat said, what happened to 6? And Chifuji said, not sure, but I'm certain we'll soon learn that 7, 8, 9.
Yeah.
And yeah, the day this was revealed, which was the day we recorded our last Just Chatting stream last week on Thursday, I saw so many why is Ren and 6 afraid of Ren and 7 jokes on Twitter. 2 of them, in fact, were right next to each other, and I screen capped it and tagged them both. It's like, look at you two. But, yeah. But apparently, what chat said, and is also what I saw somewhere else, is that Ren, when Ren planeswalks, Ren can't take whatever tree is with her. So she has to make a new one. So that 6 is stuck wherever it was that she was during that game, or that set. And now she's in Innistrad, and she has 7. Yeah.
Okay.
Ren 8/9 sorcery. As an additional cost to Ren 8/9, sack a tree full. I see what you did there, 14. But yeah, this card is really freaking neat. Obviously, I can't tell if it'll be good in standard or anything. Probably. It seems good. It starts with 5 loyalty, like damn. And like Brian said, you can just drop it in -3 and then you've got stuff to do. So that seems pretty good. So okay, last card, Dirk. We should let Dirk read that one. My bad.
Yes.
But Dirk, would you like to join the dance?
Only if I wanna leave my cares behind. So join the dance for green and white is an uncommon sorcery. Create 2 1/1 white human creature tokens, because they gotta be white. You know. Well, you know.
I think the reason I'm laughing so hard is because Dirk said that and it wasn't me.
So flashback for 3 green white. You get to flash it back. Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. All right. And it's got reminder text and flavor text. We can go into the dark, hand in hand or alone. I know which I prefer.
And it's got a very like Wicker Man or Midsummer or whatever vibe here.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not entirely sure. Like, I know the humans are trying to be able to resist the dark creatures and all that, but I have a policy against taking the hand of men in headdresses dancing around carven idols and bonfires.
Especially since it looks like his little headdress is on fire. Is it? Are there candles in there?
I can't.
Candles.
Is it the wicker thing burning in the background?
I can't tell.
So the wicker thing is burning in the background. I would say it is. He has candles in his headdress.
It does look like candles, yeah. So, yeah, I'm not taking your hand either, bruh. Your head's on fire.
I would like to point out that I have a thing against bees, so this just screams problematic for me. This just not the bees.
Also, a minute ago, Foregathers started following. Hey, thank you very much for the follow. Welcome to the pool. Foregathers. Not forefathers. Foregathers.
So I mean, this on the surface doesn't seem great, but you do ultimately get 4 tokens for a single the cost of a single card. So, and you can spread it out. You play the first half of this early, they die or block or whatever, and then later on they make you more chumps. So
yeah. And then there are the lands. And these basics are cool as balls. They're black and white, very stark. And the only color comes from the what is that called?
the frame.
Sure, we'll go with that.
But
and
it's like symbol. Not that. Yeah, it's not like the outside frame, like the sheer black. It's the.
What's the freaking word I'm trying to think of, Mike? Starts with a B.
Mike is not the word you were thinking.
Is this the bezel? Would that be the bezel?
I think that. Since I can't see what you're pointing to, I assume that's
the colored.
I guess. I know. I can't remember if that's the bezel or the bezel is something else.
But anyway, yeah, the colored bits. And the art.
The art is very interesting to look at. The one that comes to mind is the island beside the plains. Is reminiscent to me of Dante's Inferno art or from Paradise Lost.
It
like
definitely looks like
yes.
like a woodcut or Yeah, a plate in something like that. Yeah, there are two art styles. One on all of these, they're not the same artist. I guess the more I want to say cartoony. That's not the right word, but the more comic booky line art,
less realistic.
yeah, is by Dan Mumford, and the other one is either Daria.
Ivan Cage, Hagel.
What?
Oh, sorry, the one I was looking at. Go ahead.
Yeah, there's like Elena Danner, I think, or Evan Kagel, or that's Elena Danner. I can't read the red one. Daria Klebnikova?
Klebnikova? I think
Maybe?
that's what that says.
It's hard to see on the
Klebnikova,
little art here. But yeah, there's the Dan Mumford, like I said, is more it's more comic booky. It's got thicker lines and looks more comic booky. I don't know how else to describe it because I'm not good at describing art.
It has very defined boundaries, and because of that, it doesn't sort of shade into things around it.
Yeah.
So like the mountain edges are very clear cut, and it's done up in such a way that it kind of looks like comic book animation style. I agree. Some of the other people have got ones where they're I don't like I can't there's a way of sort of just more of an artistic way of explaining it, but it's just like in terms of the shading and the borders and everything, there's a defined way of describing it. I'm doing a terrible job of it, but
welcome to my world.
Yeah, I was just about to say what Shifuji just said in the chat. They especially this forest reminds me of the art from Scary Story, the original art from Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. Like the plains and the forest especially look like they could have been from Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark.
Yeah.
But yeah, these are really pretty.
Too.
Do what?
The leftmost mountain. There's got another one where it's like it's very creepy art.
Yeah, which since it's Innistrad, this makes perfect sense. And I think these are the regular basics, right? This isn't the variant gallery.
No, they have look at the collector number. They have the regular card collector numbers.
Oh, hey, look at that.
Because variants don't have the second one. They're not numbered as out.
Yeah, because they're all above, I guess, 277.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I really dig the black and white art with just the only color being from, I'm going to call it the bezel. I don't know if that's right. And the mana symbol.
Yeah, we got a response in chat that makes it sound like bezel is the.
Yeah. I know that like the bezel was a piece on like older Magic frames, but I don't know about this one. But yeah, so the plains is white, which is kind of a bummer since the art is black and white.
Yeah, when I was looking at the first two, I really couldn't tell what I was looking at. And then I looked at the others. I'm like, oh, okay. So
yeah, since the swamp is kind of purple, which black mana has been shown as purple in Magic for a very long time, so that makes sense. But someone said in the chat that they could have done something to the white to like jazz it up a little, make it like a little, add a little yellow to it or something, but then it wouldn't be white. So, but then the swamp isn't black, it's purple, so it doesn't matter if that wouldn't be white, I guess. But as a fan of purple, the swamps are awesome. Because purple. All right. So those are the 7 cards and the basics that have been revealed thus far. Out of the blue, none of us knew they were coming. Like I said, when we did the show last week, I was like, did you guys know they were doing this? And all of them were like, what? No?
Nope.
So yeah, but this was just the early preview thing. We don't get actual previews starting for another a week or two, something like that. So yeah. But all right. Yeah, last pointed out the white on black pops. The black on black would just be circles. I can see that. Yeah, it would be kind of lame if the black was black.
Yeah.
Well then, now that it's way later, but this
Tried to get through that as quick as possible.
This was your idea. So, how about some final thoughts, dorks?
Hey.
Hey.
I'm tired.
Yeah, you are.
I was glad to do this, but real life, everything's going okay. I've been a little sick lately, but not the big one. Just apparently a summer cold or allergies or something. But I'm kind of on the way out of it. So work is getting ready to get really kind of crazy, but overall, I can't really complain about a whole lot. I'm doing just fine. So I'll be heading out in just a minute, but I'm gonna wait and see how everybody else is doing.
For my final thought, I am looking forward to a new school year. I like having the summers to kind of collect myself and get myself, you know, have a chance to breathe and everything. But I feel like I don't know. There's times where the stress from teaching is kind of a bit, but at the same time, it's nice to know that that's what I have a goal. I have goals. I have expectations. I know what I'm going to be doing. Whereas during the summer, it's what's today? I don't know. Do I have anything I have to do? Sort of feeling that comes with the summers. So I'm looking forward to a new school year. I'm hoping that there will be, uh, this will be a better school year than last year. Mostly just that I'll actually be able to do stuff in class in terms of it. Um, but I'm also not going to go in with the complete expectation that things are not going to change. So we'll see what the new school year has in store.
So everyone, get a shot so Dirk can have a good school year this year.
Amen. Do it for me, guys. Do it for me. If only that's how it worked.
Right? Mike?
I don't really have anything specific to share. I don't think. I was intending on like getting some Adventures in Forgotten Realms to have, and maybe try to do a little 2-person draft with someone eventually, but just haven't gotten around to either ordering something online or going down to the local shop to get anything. So who knows? Who knows what the circumstances will be when Innistrad stuff comes out? Who knows? I look forward to seeing what they have going on, because Innistrad has just been an awesome place to go. I've had tons of fun playing Magic each time we've gone back to Innistrad. And I think they'll be able to keep that up. There's just a lot of there's some rich stuff to mine there still. So we'll see.
Yeah, we will. I have no opinion on any of that. See, Dirk, there you go. Donovan Bain just popped up in the chat and said, I don't live in the U.S., but I'll get a shot for you, Dirk.
I appreciate it.
We're all doing our part for Dirk.
Yeah, we are. I did my part months ago. I'm done with you. Screw you, Dirk. As for me, I have been working on redoing the work area here. So I got a new arm to put the microphone on, so I could put a pop filter on it and put it closer to my face. So I just sound a little better. But apparently there's no difference. I was like, am I too loud now? And everyone has been like, no. I'm like, how is that possible? Like, it's closer to my face by a factor of like 3. I should be blowing you all out. And everyone's like, you sound fine. Like, I don't get it. But because I got the new arm for the microphone and because of the stupid glass desk that I got, I only have 3 options for where to mount it. One of them completely covers my secondary monitor where chat and Twitch and OBS and all of that are. Like, it's just right in front of it. I'm like, well, that doesn't work. And over there's where I could mount it is where the webcam is mounted. And if I move the webcam, then you don't get the backdrop. You get like part of a wall or a door, and that defeats the whole purpose of the backdrop. So I put it over here where it partially covers my main monitor, which is the monitor when I'm streaming games. This is the monitor where I play games. So it's really frustrating. Especially now that I found out, apparently it makes no difference. What? So wait, here's a test. Hey guys.
Yes.
I'm facing the mic directly. Okay, this is what I sound like.
Okay.
Okay, I'm now turning and looking over there. Is there a difference?
Slight.
Slight. Wow. Okay.
Very slight.
What if I get a little closer? Does that sound different?
Yes.
Yes.
So
You're
now
too
it's too
loud.
loud.
Yes.
Oh, sorry. Okay. I'm learning things about this microphone apparently that I've had for literal years and years. But anyway, so that's what I've been doing, is trying to figure out how to make this work. I also got a new USB hub. And I just hit puberty. Did you hear that? A USB hub. Because I ran out of USB ports and the stupid ring light isn't powered, it's USB powered. So I went, and so I ran out of ports. So like I don't know how to do this yet. I might have to shift the entire desk in some direction so that I can move the webcam and still be pointing at the backdrop. So the desk is currently like parallel with the two walls, because it's an L-shaped desk. It's parallel with the 2 walls. I might have to shift it so the webcam points at me and you see the entertainment center full of nerd stuff behind me, but it's at a completely different angle. I have to get Mike to come over and help me move stuff. Yeah, you hear that? That was the psh.
No, that's not what I meant.
But anyway. So yeah, that's just what I've been dealing with. Just today, honestly, it's what I've been dealing with. Let me know, again, if the previous Just Chatting stream on the podcast feed was a yes or no for you that listen to the podcasts. So I'll know if I should do that in the future. I kicked the ring light and it moved, and it scared the hell out of me. It's not on, but it moved, and anyway, let me know. I don't know. Whatever. Let me know how you're doing. Let me know when you get your shot. But like I said at the beginning, go to patreon.com/themanapool. I knocked over my drink bottle. And you can sign up to become a lifeguard, and you get some odds and ends and some... I got odds and ends I need to post, actually, that I finished but didn't post. Whoops. Yeah. You can get podcasts and YouTube videos early. You get the odds and ends. Once I get the big project going, you'll get those early, and you can help me with those, but I've hit another wall. That's why I'm trying to get all the setup changed. Anyway. And... yeah, you get the sponsorship shout out. So, hey, let me thank our mythic lifeguards in, I don't know, this order. ALK Alters, Stan, Connor Kennedy, Mr. Dr. Lewis, Jason Doan, Gothic's back? Oh, hey, Gothic's back. Jeff Spencer. hang on, I scrolled. Gothic being there. Gothic wasn't there last month, and it freaked me out. There we go. Casey, Cody Buckawing, Aleph Cat. Scroll. Wait, Gothic was there last. I'm so confused. Anyway. Aleph Cat, Andrew Hunt, Jason Kaus, The Beast Father, Aaron Goodwine, Violet Moon, PJ McMullen, Team U Hillis Haru, Beardy Man, Jake Jansen's, happy slightly late birthday, although I told you in the Discord. Happy birthday, Jake. John Parker, Scuzzo, Kim Ho, and Al. Yay. Thank you all so very much for your support and every lifeguard at every tier, because you allow me to keep doing this, keep bringing you the streams and YouTube videos and podcasts, and I appreciate it. And then I knocked something else off my desk. Oh my god. Also, I've been eaten up by, I think, mosquitoes. I saw an old friend that I hadn't seen in a long time. And when I say saw, I mean I stood out in her driveway and talked to her and her husband and her daughters. And when I woke up the next morning, my legs itched. And I didn't think anything of it. But later that night, I was actually looking at my legs, and I have these little red spots all over my legs. And I was like, what? Oh my god. Do I have bed bugs or something? So I inspected my bed, and I see no signs of anything living in the bed except for me, where I live in the bed. And I was like, what the? Oh, I stood outside and talked to Short for like 40 minutes. Oh, the damn mosquitoes must have gotten me. And considering I am never outside unless I'm, door dashing, and then it's just from car to restaurant or car to person's front door. That's it. Like, I'm not used to this anymore. So I actually had to go out and buy itch cream. Because I didn't have any, because I don't get mosquito bites in this volume. I'm talking like 15 or so mosquito bites total. I have been in agony. It's awful. I'm just saying. So get your shot and don't let the mosquitoes get you. But anyway, this has been the Mana Pool number 629. Wow. That number keeps getting bigger, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Always.
That is how that works, yeah. Thank you all so very much for joining us, and conjure up something. I got nothing. Let us know what you think of the whole digital arena thing. Digital ArenaOnly card? Oh,
digital arena sounds.
Yeah. Okay, let me try that again. Thank you all so very much for listening, and word salad.